Give you a little Ric Flair. Woo! Oh, I've just brought you into the. I just unmuted your mic. We're gonna do our first interview on sweat equity with what I'd like to call a power attorney, Steve, the Confetti Fantetti. He comes on our college football podcast. He's got a motor. Let's see what words of wisdom he can impart. So we'll do what you do on a professional radio show or podcast. We'll bring in our guest so you can hear his voice, distinct, different from ours. Steve, what up?
How's it going?
There you go. Caleb, how you doing?
What's happening?
All
doing
right.
Well, doing well. Just got off a little move here, so I'm trying to get my bearings about me a little bit. But we're good. We're ready. Let's do this.
Well, okay. Well, all right. We'll start with that actually, because I just had to move about a month ago.
As did I.
As did you. You were my neighbor
That's
in
right.
Ybor City, and which is like Grand Theft Auto. If anybody's wondering what part of Tampa Ybor City is, it's essentially Grand Theft Auto. You could walk out, get a hooker. You could walk out, just do nothing.
Grab a car.
Just grab a ride and just whoop whoop. Do y'all handle the moving aspect like you do, almost like you're a project manager? Like I try to see it in my head, like, okay, we got to get this by this date, and we have to get these big things by this date. We're going to hire movers because it's going to save us a lot of time, and I'm not going to bitch as much.
Yeah.
Where you see that opportunity cost. Do y'all see it that way, or just is it sloppy because y'all both have women as well, so that can throw a variable in there?
Yeah, and that's kind of where the the arguing comes in is with the significant other. Just making sure we checked all the boxes. But yeah, I gotta give a shout out to College Hunks Moving. They sent two guys over who were incredible. Cam and Brendan.
Were they cute?
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say cute. They were hunks though. They were hunks, so they there was no false advertising there.
What did their junk look like? Was it shaved?
This was College Hunks Moving, not hauling junk. Yeah. So I think they left the junk at home that day. But it was good, man. It was smooth and easy. But I did the thing where I tried to be the hero, which I'd recommend not doing. I wanted to make everything as light as possible, so I would take all the drawers out and like dump the contents in what I thought was satisfactory of a trash bag.
Okay.
I guess that's not the way to do it. That's not how you move, apparently.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess you were supposed to leave everything in all the drawers, and they like saran wrap the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
And apparently they work out so they can lift everything with all the drawers in. Yeah. That's new to me. So I took everything out, and now all my shit is moved, and it's where it needs to be. But the contents of those, items are just in trash bags. I don't know where anything is.
Well, to be fair to you, I would say if this is the first time you've hired movers, you would have no idea.
This is the very first time. And I've moved a number of times.
It'd be really pretentious to be like, I'm going to leave everything in there for these guys.
Right.
You had something called empathy, which a lot of people don't have. But also at the same time, you're going to find you're going to need to throw out about half the shit anyway. And
there's no question.
It might have been a blessing in disguise, even though you just made it harder on yourself. You pulled a real Batman move. You're like, because the city needs a hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this move needs a hero.
Yeah, that's exactly what it needed.
Steve, did you find the project management area? I don't know if this is more or less how your mind works, but if you're moving something, you kind of apply a lot of business efficiencies to what you're doing, or is it just like, when I'm at home, it's just fuck it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had a plan from the get-go. Maybe I was just the way I am. I actually called them first, and the moving company, Spartan Moving Company in Clearwater, they're very good. I don't know if we're throwing plugs here, but anyway.
No, it's actually good.
Yeah.
We need to throw plugs in the beginning for when we get advertised.
Yeah.
We're going to do that.
They were very good, on time, did a great job, saran wrapped the shit out of everything, like Caleb said. But what I did ahead of time was I asked them, I said, look, I've never actually hired movers before. It's my first time. I said, what do you recommend I do? And I was just taking notes on what he was telling me. So when they came, I had everything boxed that they wanted boxed. Certain things that were breakable, I put those in a certain section. They knew how to grab and what, so they weren't guessing on what they were lifting. And it was so fast and perfect, no problems. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. It used to be a lot of like what I call community college dropout kind of guys that didn't have their shit together. It's like just a dude with a truck that, I don't know. I had purple mover eaters.
That's still out there though. I mean, we moved from an apartment complex where you just see the sketchiest trucks pull up possible.
Yeah,
and they just like 15 people hop out, and you're like, what the fuck?
Andale,
yeah, you're like, what the hell is going on here?
The only thing I like worry about, like when you're watching, is like, because I don't know if it's different for you, but like they get charged like kind of like by the hour or whatever. They charge you every hour for what they're doing.
Yeah. Like
if they start slacking, it's like, do I say anything? Do you see them walking slower back into the house? Yeah. But they're lifting this stuff with dollies.
They're just counting their steps like foot upon foot.
Oh, like they say, pick it up.
Tiny steps because they're Mexican. The one thing we had, the pricing structure was they at every box after like whatever it added to. So however many boxes, it could be small, it could be large, or things, which I really like.
Trash bags.
It was like $1, and I was like, yeah, you're gonna take everything. You're gonna take as much as possible,
right?
Because we didn't delete anything before we moved, so we just have a bunch of shit. Caleb actually helped get a lot of that shit out of there.
No, that was good. That's my good deed for last weekend.
Yeah, that was last weekend.
Maybe. Feels like it.
God, woo! Good old Ric Flair, woo! All right, so this podcast and we're banking episodes, so this will probably come out in 2-3 weeks or something like that. But we've gotten some good feedback already. I'm glad. I've talked to probably a handful of people in person, and then I just got texts, G-chats, whatever. If you have any questions you want us to answer on this podcast, you can email me personally at law@tocoworks.com, or Caleb. Hit up Caleb because he doesn't get many emails.
Yeah,
Caleb
show me some love.
tocoworks.com, and we'll try to throw them in. We'll try to weave them in the fabric of this podcast.
There we go.
All right, Steve. So you're a guy that has a motor. You're the dude at the gym that runs to the gym. If I remember correctly.
That's right.
Which makes you feel like a piece of shit if you drive like I do.
Sweet. Steve's here. Sweet. Awesome.
He's like, oh, I'm just finishing up. What are you doing? I was like, I just woke up. It's 8:30. He's like, fuck, man. I've been in here for 3 hours just pounding weights. Like, whoa. You got the arm butter on and everything. I don't know. I don't know how you bring that with you in a knapsack, but it's one of those things where you're a guy that just wakes up and just gets shit done.
That's it.
Let's. How were you always like that, or did you kind of manufacture that kind of energy?
I'll tell you what. Honestly, it was playing college football. It is so schedule driven and time management driven that once you make it a habit in your life, I don't think you can ever get out of it. Because I've tried. Like I've tried to sleep in. I can't. I feel like I have to attack my day every day. So. First thing is you have to get.
Where'd you play again?
I played at Michigan Tech University. I played wide receiver.
I gotta ask the questions for the listener.
I like that. Yeah. So, and when you're in college, it's like you have to get up at 5 a.m. If you can't get your lift in when you have class in the afternoon, because the lift is always in the afternoon, so you get up and do it in the morning. So you lift first, and then you have to eat a certain meal after you're done lifting. And then you go home and obviously get your stuff ready for class after you shower, of course. And then, then you go to classes. And then you have classes usually from 9 o'clock until about 2. Sometimes you'll end earlier. You'll have a lunch somewhere in there. Then you got to watch film, and every single position has a different film time to be at. So you watch film. Then after that, you have another position meeting.
You watch like The Artist, or
you watch the team from the opposing week, or you'll watch that practice film. Yeah, that film.
I didn't know if it was. Like
I'm glad you clarified
film.
that.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I'm glad you broke that down for the
not everybody's
listeners.
A football.
That's
fanatic,
true.
but
I'm kind of assuming as I'm talking to you. But no, it's good. And then obviously after that, then you got to get ready. You do some kind of like therapy stuff or get taped up for practice. Then you have practice. Then after practice is done, you have a quick dinner. Sometimes you got to do more therapy stuff, get in the cold tub, get some ultrasound, whatever. And then you have to go to study hall. And you basically have these set times that the school makes you go to if you're a football player, and there's tutors there if you need them, and you got to be there for a certain amount of hours. And then once that's done, you can leave there and go home, but you usually have more work and studying to do because you had to leave class and you couldn't just study like every regular student after. Then you go back and do more studying, you prep your stuff for the next day, and sometimes you'll even do more football stuff. And then you start your day over again every day. So you kind of just get time regimented. You got to squeeze things in when you can. And then, like I said, you're just so used to doing that for 4 straight years. And like me, when I was done playing football in college, I had a chance. I went to the combine for the CFL to play pro in Canada. And then I decided I had some opportunities to do some free agent stuff. I decided to just go right to law school. And when you go from one to the other, I was the same way in law school. I got up and worked out. I started prepping for my classes. You go to class. Yeah, so that's why it kind of just stays with you.
That white privilege must have helped a lot. But it is. But that's what I'm saying is like it's not a race thing. It's just you had the motor to do it, and you had guys on your team that were the same way.
Exactly.
Self-discipline's really tough. Do you think you could have done that without someone pushing you in that direction?
I think I could, only because once you realize it works and you don't want to be left behind because you see it also working for everybody else, you don't want to change, and you have a sort of like a fear of failure, which I always have had probably forever. And I think that's probably what drives you to keep it, because you're so used to, you feel, if you change, what if I did this different? Would I still be as effective? And you almost don't think you would be, so why would you change what's working?
Yeah.
And almost even if you think you would be, why? If it's working, you know,
Exactly.
why change it? If you could say, man, I could probably sleep in another hour, you know, or find another hour to do whatever, but why would I pick something else up if this is working for me with what I want to do?
Yeah. I agree, because even if I have that free hour sometimes and like, oh, I could go sleep or something, I end up finding something else to do to make myself better. Like I'll go read, you know, something in the Wall Street Journal online, or I'll check out the news and see if anything's going on in the legal field I need to be aware of, or any changes in the law. So it's like I'm still using that time management thing to still improve on something rather than just, you know, doing something else.
And I think that everybody has that. I wouldn't call it an aha moment, but when you kind of find the schedule that works for you, and the routine and getting in that. Whether I played college sports as well, and you know, everything he said for football is pretty spot on with baseball as well.
Yeah.
You know, minus the video stuff, which actually now they do a lot more of, but hence the scouting block. Shameless plug.
Scoutingblock.com. Follow on Instagram. Scouting Block.
Be a great Christmas gift coming up. Just saying. But you've got that schedule, and when you're when you're in that mode, and you just say, hey, I've got to do A, B, and C, and that's going to get me to where I need to get to for these games and for the classroom and to succeed in all this stuff. And then when you're done playing, that's all you've known for the past, you know, however many years. And so when you go out in the world on your own, it's like, okay, I think I know the schedule I need to be on in order to continue being successful. You make, you know, some changes accordingly. And but yeah, I think you're spot on, man.
Yeah. Well, you asked why would you stay in another hour, and we're all kind of like, yeah, I'd rather sleep in another hour. There's something more pushing you, like, there is an instance where you're asking why wouldn't you do it once you know it works, and it's like it's kind of human inclination just to kind of be like, fuck it, like
I think we all have those days where we're like, no, I'm staying in bed, you know it's fall here in Tampa. So that means it gets below 75 for a couple days.
It's nipply.
And
Tough
I'm wearing a hoodie right now, and it's
high school baseball hoodie.
Yeah, there's no way it's colder than 72 right now. And I went and walked the dog this morning. I was like, I'm gonna get my jacket.
Well, still repping the high school sweater. Which
have to, man.
High school hoodie.
So,
and it's one of those things where I tried to get up at like 8, and I did the fuck it, and I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna work the rest of the day on a Sunday, but there's no point in me getting up. So at a certain point, my body's like, hey, you know what? Fuck you. We're not doing this 5 hours of sleep kind of thing anymore. Like, it just doesn't work.
It'll happen. But I think the most important thing people need to realize, and I mean, Caleb alluded to it, is just it's become so part of your life. You don't really know what else to obviously do. But the most important thing to understand is your schedule and your life setting is always going to be different at different stages of your life. So you're going to carry on more things if you choose to pick up more things. Like, for instance, I'm also a practicing lawyer. I'm also a law professor, and I teach a lot at the law school here too. So those two things alone, plus you have a family, Plus, you're obviously trying to make time to work out. Plus, you want to make time to do other type of personal things you try to do around your home. Exactly, or interact with friends.
He's now a co-host of the Triple Option. So
there you go.
Yeah, so anyway, that's a selection choice. If you choose to add things to your life, then you have to understand that you have to have a method for organizing them, because if you don't, then that's when your life gets into chaos. That's when stress starts coming. So I think the biggest thing about having time management, having a scheduled process, like we talked about how it was playing college sports,
right,
how it's like regimented. If you don't incorporate that into your life as you're taking on new things and you transition out of a different stage you're in, whether it was student athlete to now professional or whatever it is, you have to have that type of schedule or plan, because if you don't, that's when, like I said, stress, disarray, you come unorganized, you start making mistakes, you forget things. So I think once you're on that plan, it just makes things go a lot more smoother. So again, it's the stage of life that you're in, the transitions you're making, having that plan already ahead of how you want to attack your days. That's what makes it more enjoyable and more livable.
I want to back up a little bit. I've got two things. Caleb, can you look up defensive tackle Spencer Johnson? That's one thing. The other thing is, when I asked about having a motor kind of in the beginning of this, when you were in high school, did you have this? Because you said it kind of came to play in college.
Right.
My point is always, I was kind of a lazy kid in high school as well. And then when things started clicking, when I took business school classes and like really just started getting my shit together, it was like, oh, I'm going to graduate. You know, I'm halfway through college. And then I just started like kind of setting my own discipline and being like, all right, I need to live it up as much as I can, meaning I should get a job. So when I get out of college, I'll have a job. I need to really focus on the studies I like and entrepreneurship. That's when it started to click for me.
Yeah.
I kind of had the time management skill, but I was always a C+ student. But getting that motor, a big thing I have a conversation with a lot of people is like, I don't have that, what you have. And I go, that's bullshit. Like I was a lazy fucking kid, especially the first 2 years of college.
Yeah.
And I just kind of go, oh, I got to get my shit together, or else I'm not cool enough to be the guy that wakes up at 11 and just have shit come to you. You got to go make shit happen.
So let me ask you this, because that's kind of what I wanted to get to earlier, and of course I just got on the tangent and sidetracked. But you know, it's a little more obvious for the people that, you know, played a sport in college. But I think that even if you played a sport or not, you know, everyone has a moment or a certain time, you know, sliver in time there when they were in college or high school or whenever it was that they said, man, I need to do things this way and certain things at this time in this fashion. And then that will help me to become, you know, maybe not successful, but it's at least the best start for myself. You know, when was that time for you that you just said, you know, man, I need to go get a job, or I need to take this seriously so that I'm, you know, in a few years, I'm not just, you know, sitting here with my, you know, thumb up my ass. Yeah.
Are you asking, or are you just kind of?
When was that time for you did you have that one moment that you remember when you were like, man, here's what I need to be doing?
It coincided with wanting to really do stand up, and I kind of surprisingly, now that I look at all the young guys coming up, that I actually thought about it in a good direction. I knew I wasn't. Once you pass 19 and figure out you're not Eddie Murphy, you know, you're not going to have a special by 21. You kind of go, okay, I'm going to have to work a lot harder. I might not be the funniest naturally, but I think of comedy as kind of like being fast or quick. Like you can be a badass sprinter. Like I think we talked about this before. Eddie George was a fast running back, but at the same time, he would go to speed camp every summer because he thought that was so important to him. And he's only marginally getting better, but he did it every summer. And I always kind of like that as a metaphor. It's like, yeah, you got to have some of that natural ability, but you can get better and work on it. If you want to use another sports kind of metaphor, it's like LeBron James. He didn't have a post-up game, you know, year 4, and then he worked on it all summer. I didn't have crowd work skills year 4. I was doing mine, and I did groundlings classes. And it's cool to see my old groundlings teacher, Michaela Watkins, was on SNL. She left in the middle of the session, and then now she's on that show, Casual, on Hulu.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
Kind of like as Bert Kreischer says, you have the nautical beacons.
You're talking about the machine?
The machine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the comedian and from
Maheen.
Tampa, and been a good advisor for me. He's like, you got to have the nautical beacons that's keeping you in. Who are going to be these people that are going to like be those physical beacons that are kind of like, hey, oh, this is a good person to hang around. This is a good person. So long story boring. Basically, to borrow a phrase from Brett Ernst, another comic, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I got to get my shit together. I think I had good time management skills from football, actually, because our high school, you had 3 hours of practice every day, and then I'd go work out for another hour, and then you maybe get home at 8 or 9, and I'd throw some shit together, work-wise, schoolwork-wise, and then go to bed, and then wake up and do it again. So I think that time management skill of having something that made you disciplined to that, I had that in there, and then got lazy and was like, oh, fuck. And I also found business classes, too, at the same time, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. And I know for myself that it was I can remember the almost exact moment where I don't know why it hit me when it did, but I was in junior college. I was, had the goal and dream of getting drafted and being a professional baseball player and pitcher. And so I had a rough freshman year, and when you have a rough freshman year in junior college baseball, it's usually pretty depressing.
Yeah.
But I had a goal in mind, and I wanted to reach my goal. So I kind of just had this aha moment where I said, man, these guys that are really good and that are going places with baseball, they surround themselves with it. It's what they do. And I kind of found myself being, man, I really like baseball, but I like going out a little bit, and I like, meeting new people, and I like business, and I like, reading about other things.
And I don't love baseball players' conversations. Not a lot of good thought in there.
There's actually some really bright ball players out there, but for the majority,
they're not playing in the major leagues.
It's a lot of bros and dudes. And long awkward pauses and kind of like the dog tilted to the side look. So I had this epiphany where I just said, I need to surround myself with this, and if I can do this for the next year, let's see where I get. Yeah. And let's see what it does for me. And I went from being a non-scholarship player in junior college. This is really just painting a brutal picture of the kind of pitcher I was. A non-scholarship player in junior college to after that moment I had of dedicating myself to baseball, I never paid for another year of school ever again, because I was a scholarship guy every year, and I just made it a point to say, surround yourself with the game, and I did that in the classroom as well, saying, man, the classroom works my motivation to get out there and play baseball and to be the best that I really can in order to achieve this goal, and everything else kind of followed. So for me, I remember that moment specifically. And I've always kind of applied that to whatever I'm doing. If you want to be good at something, surround yourself with it. Yeah. And I feel like I don't want to say you can't fail, but you're going to set yourself up to succeed a lot quicker than if you're just scatterbrained all the time with a bunch of different tasks.
Yeah, I don't know if you were getting at this. I kind of thought you were, and
then you didn't.
Well, no.
let me articulate your point.
Yeah, well,
your
no.
attorney.
Yeah, tell me if you're wrong, because I was actually going to say this before you actually started saying it, and you hit it on the head. I just don't know if you actually said the same words, but if you're doing what you said, how you surround yourself, how you decide to make a change in terms of, well, I like going out, I like doing this, I like a little bit of business, I want to dabble in some different things, but to have time management and to kind of be successful, I think you have to understand, and we didn't say it yet, and that's what I thought you were saying, is that there's a certain level of sacrifice.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to
totally
be,
right.
you have to be willing to give up something. For me, it was going out.
Mm-hmm.
I had to study in the library a lot more, whether it was an undergrad or law school, and you have to maybe going out with your friends a little bit and saying no. You can't be afraid sometimes, not to like let people down, but if you know it's something where, for instance, it's going to have what I call a duplicative effect on you, which means A, it's taking you away from doing something that you're doing that day, and then B, the next day you wake up, perhaps if you go out drinking late, you know you're not going to be as effective the next day.
Right.
That's taking time away from you too. So you have to find what those situations are and then realize, look, I might have to give these up to sacrifice because I know I have to get these things done in my time that I have. So again, I think a level of sacrifice is also what comes with that epiphany too, is saying, look, I know I would love to do these things, but I rank these things in a more higher priority, and so therefore I have to kind of give these other ones up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the priority checklist, and I don't know if I brought it up on this podcast, but I see it this way with a comedy set list or just shit I have to do is the ESPN crawl on the side where you're like, oh, this is more important. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put it up like a Jenga kind of set where like, oh, this is way more important. I have to get this done. And we talked about this, I know, on previous episodes. You have to make time for the wifey. You have to block out time almost. And we're in that weird thing where I'm trying to get us on sync and be like, hey, let's have this shared calendar. Like last night, it was like we had to do a Friendsgiving, and it said
I got that coming up.
It said 9 p.m. on the calendar. I was like, cool, it's a late one. Awesome. And she was like, no, it's at 6. And I was like, well, if we haven't talked about it, why would I? And then, like, because in my head, I already have the next 4 hours bricked out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do like 3 other things. That kind of sacrifice as well, where you have to like almost be like, well, I'm going to have to sacrifice what I thought I had ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to really just bite my tongue and just go to this thing.
Yeah.
That almost actually sounds like compromise more than sacrifice, or maybe a little bit of both. Because you're almost compromising.
There's always sacrifice and compromise, right?
Exactly. I
so I don't want to get too like, but yeah, man,
Kumbaya.
totally. But I think that is an excellent point. Sacrifice is a big thing where I egregiously am promoting myself to get this company going and make sure we never get behind and doing it douchey-wise on social media. I put it out there last Friday, I think it was the 3rd or 4th Friday in a row that I've been in the office until 10 or 11 p.m. at night. And it doesn't feel shitty. It does feel shitty not to see a lot of my friends that I want to, but I know in the long run this won't be like this forever, That's one thing a lot of chicks don't get to, is that what's going on right now doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen in perpetuity.
Right.
Like, or you treat the dogs this way. Is this how you're going to treat a kid if we have it? No, because it's a kid. So, like, that's a totally different scenario. I don't have, I'm not a cop. I can adjust my thinking. I don't have zero tolerance on every issue I have. I like this gray matter where you kind of, okay, everything's on a spectrum almost. I'll get back to Spencer Johnson in a second.
I was just going to ask about him.
Well, let's get to it. So I lived in the college football dorms. Technically, that couldn't be the college football dorms, so it's 49% college football, Auburn football team, and then 49% ROTC, and then me and my buddy Jimmy have the one that so it makes it non-dominant for the whole place. And they would get up and they work their fucking dick off, and I would even ROTC, which is surprising to me. I thought that was kind of fucking jack around shit.
Those guys get after it, man.
They would be like calling out each other. Oh, I got up at 4:45. What time did you get up? They're like 5. They're like, Pah, ha, why don't you sleep in a little bit more?
There was a guy on my football team in college that did ROTC too. So he would have double the workouts every day, where he'd do ROTC at 5 a.m., do whatever they do, all their drills and running a couple miles. And then he would go to class. He'd usually miss the workout. They would count that he wasn't a big dude, but then he'd still have to go. No, he was a wide receiver with us, but he would still do the 3-hour practice later in the afternoon that we'd have, and still have to make film session.
So bringing it back to Spencer Johnson, he lived in that dorm. I love me some Checkers fast food. You got to eat. What are you doing? And I'd bring it back, and I'd get a Spencer Johnson tax every time I'd come back. He'd be like, yo, what's in that bag? I'm like, books. Like, I'd say something. I said something shitty to him the first time I met him, and I was like, nothing you want, man. And he's like, let me see that. And grabbed it and took 40% like the government and just ate it. And
I got
and
these cheeseburgers.
That was our relationship. Yeah, I got these cheeseburgers, man. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But I did get to see they would do lights out at 9. And it'd be chaos at 8:57. It'd be like, woo, yeah, hey, yeah, get over here, Omar, woo! It was fucking craziness. And then it was complete silence. So I always kind of I admire that discipline of just lights out, it's done, get up. You're going to get up in the morning and just fucking hate the morning, but you're going to do it. So let's go from you got out of college, you played ball. Mm-hmm. Talk about how you kind of realized, hey, this professional football stuff is not. it's hard to kind of give that up, and it's hard to be like, it's something you've played probably since you were 10 earlier.
No, I actually only played in my second year of high school. I started.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm actually from Canada. You just play hockey your whole life. You don't really.
Right.
As soon as you get to high school and you get these other sports, it's
Were
not
you
really
a goon?
pushed. No, I was good. I played travel. I was a good player. It just
I could see you as a good goon though.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not as big now, or like I guess the way I am now. I wasn't the same size back when I was in playing hockey when I was a kid. But
you're like Cake Eater.
I was exactly like,
you're like
Adam Banks. There you go. I was like Adam Banks. Yeah. But I didn't grow up in that kind of neighborhood. But I'll tell you this. You kind of just realize what you want out of life. You kind of talk to enough people, which I think you should always do before you get involved in something, is do your research. So I researched, what the league was like, what the average, span of a player coming in who maybe wasn't drafted high, and if they're a free agent, how often you'd be shipped around, and how long. To me, I saw it more as stalling your life. So if you weren't going to get to where you want to go fast enough. And of course, sometimes, people, you hear stories, he spent his time in the D League or whatever for 5 years and worked his way up. That's great. I just thought, I wanted more instantaneous results. And some people are not like that, where they're willing to kind of, struggle for a whole bunch of time. To me, I wanted to get my life started. So I knew, look, I was gonna go to law school and then get my LLM master's degree after that. I knew I was gonna do it, but how long do you wait until maybe you won't do it one day? And how long was I gonna get bounced around? You don't know what's gonna happen. And if obviously you look at what the salaries are, and is that money worth it? Will you make more doing a different profession? So I kind of just did a cost benefit analysis of everything, and you kind of look at more of what you want out of life. And if you don't think you're at the level that you wanted to be at that age, then I figured, you know what, I can be at the level I want to be at in a different career, even before a certain age where you're supposed to even blossom at it.
Yeah.
Then do the other thing as long as that still makes you happy. So that was kind of how I did that cost benefit analysis. Weighed it. You still got to be happy with your decision. If you know you're not going to be happy doing anything else than your other passion, then someone like me, then I definitely would have said, you know what, stay in football, grind, and go through it and see where you end up. But to me, I just wanted a little bit more instantaneous results, and I knew I didn't want to put off school, and I wanted to get that done as fast as possible. So I had all my legal education done even before the age of 28. So
yeah, what age did you make that cost benefit analysis? And I tell a lot of people, hey, you have this Google thing, you can kind of project what your career might be in a certain field. Right.
That's what you do.
It's kind of insane not people don't do that. Yeah. It's kind of insane that we have athletes that go broke when we literally have 2 documentaries about the subject, a 30 for 30.
Yeah. And there's a meeting at the beginning of every single season
about how to manage your money,
not going broke.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
but I can actually get it into that if you want. There's more to it than just that meeting. It's the people that you surround yourself and your money managers and what they're doing. But anyway, we can talk about that after if you want. That's a whole other podcast.
Literally another
I would
hour.
love to have that one day.
Okay.
But anyway, the point I was trying to make, you're asking me when I decided that I was getting out of college, 22, 23 years old. I did it.
So that's really young for a lot of people that are entering law school, especially when you have a little bit of a hurdle of like, I didn't know if being Canadian kind of it made it more difficult. I mean, obviously socially, but like, but like
maybe.
But I'm saying like, did that have another kind of speed bump in the way that you had to kind of work around, or because where did you go to law school?
I went to undergrad at Michigan Tech. I said I went to law school, Western Michigan University, Cooley School of Law. I did my
Chris Cooley School of Law, the tight end.
Yeah, it's from Washington. No, and then I did my master's, my LLM in corporate law and finance, also at Western Michigan.
Okay, and they have a campus down in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, that's where I teach at right now. I teach corporate law there.
So, like, what I'm trying to say is, I think it's a mature decision at 22, 23 that I think a lot of people kind of wait around. How did you know you wanted to do that? That's the big question I keep getting asked by my friends. How do I figure out what my passion is?
And you know what? That's a very good question. And I don't think there's a right answer to it, but I will tell you what I think the right answer is, at least from my own perspective. Because I even remember being in law school with friends of mine, and they're older than me, and they still didn't even know what they wanted to do in the law, but they were just at law school just to get their law degree, and they didn't even know what they wanted to concentrate on, whether it be criminal law, corporate law, employment law, etc. So
I don't think that's that unusual, though.
No,
right?
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not. So I think this is what I would tell somebody, because this is how it was for me. You have to take a good look at yourself, not a snapshot in the present, but I even go back 10 years or so, I would even say a decade, or even if you're just about getting into high school, I started thinking to myself, what was I constantly attracted to if I would open up the newspaper, or if I was turning on the television, or if it was the news, or if I was having conversations with my parents? What are the things that I was always drawn to, had the most interest in, were catching my eye, I was having conversations about? And for me, my mom worked in politics my whole life when I was living in Canada. My dad's a police officer. Law, policy, politics, these things were constantly being talked about. If I was opening up the newspaper, those were the first sections I would look at. When I was doing certain things in school, you do career days, or you can go and follow somebody or write essays. My dad let me follow the most successful defense attorney criminal in Windsor, Ontario, where I'm from, for a career day. He said, absolutely, have your son follow me. So I started making sure I was pointing myself in these directions. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, you realize, I did this for all this time. That has to be where my passion's in. Because again, psychologically, I don't want to get too Freudian into this, but they say, and I study psychology, I have a minor in it as well, they tell you the actions that you take even when you're younger, as you're being developed, obviously your brain develops every single year in your life as you're younger, you start to realize you do these things, or you have these interests for a reason, and you can tap into them even later on as you get older in life, and you start realizing, I cared about these things matter to me, I have a passion for these things, something needs to come around and bring them full circle. And then for me, even when I was doing my studies, my undergrads in pre-law and social sciences, and you started taking those classes for a reason. You just start realizing, what, it's in that area. And I think people get scared when they have to pick, what am I going to do? Oh my God. Don't just think of something in the abstract too much in terms of, it has to be, for instance, me, just law. No, there's so many different careers you can do in one area. So don't pigeonhole yourself and don't get scared. It has to be this. No, you can have a law degree and not practice law and do other good jobs. Or you can, get a degree in biology and not be a biologist. And you can be a consultant for certain, medicine firms or whatever.
You can be the bridge between those two industries. I talk about that a lot.
There
like people are like, same with business. I'm like, business is so general. It doesn't mean you have to be the fucking pinstripe guy.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that. And same with attorneys, even accountants to a degree. Like accounting and finance, like you can't. I know that's more under the business area, but I'm saying like you don't have to be the person that's doing cash flow statements every month.
Yep.
You could be the go-between broker for the chem lab that's helping. That's helping orcas, find their way or something like that, or not die off. You could be the bridge between that, where they need someone like that in a field that generally doesn't have their shit together in that respect.
Right. So I talk to high school kids a lot, and I've given a couple commencement speeches I've been asked to go, and it's kind of it's finding what I call a passion within a passion. So for instance, don't just say for instance, I'm going to medical school and you put all this pressure on yourself, I have to be the best surgeon. No. Get your degree if that's where your field is, and don't be too scared if you don't score high enough and you're not the best surgeon in the world. The medical field is so broad, you can still find a niche within it, or niche, whatever you want to call it, and you can still be happy because you can find something else to do. The way the world is today, you can extrapolate from one discipline in one area of a concentration, and you can create and make it totally something else. I mean, I can guarantee you when the internet was created, it wasn't just to be a search engine. And now the way the internet is, you can do so many different things, and there's apps now, and Twitter's created, and Facebook. I mean, again, there's things you don't foresee. So you can go and create your own path. You can, kind of multiply or have a domino effect from something else that you already see is in society and create your own business that way. Or you can get involved in a different aspect of that discipline that you chose to focus in. So people sometimes get too caught up, and that's why I tell them to help them find their passion is find first your area over what you've been involved in over a certain period of time. And once you get in it and you've got your education in it, don't think you're going to all of a sudden be or worry about being the top right away in that field. You can find your way through by getting experiences in different facets of it, and then it can lead you back to the top of where you want to go.
It's what I say. A lot of comics are like, they'll ask for advice in the beginning, and it's like, do you care about being famous? And if they're like, yeah, that's why I got in this, like, then you'll never make it.
Exactly.
Like, you'll probably never make it.
Well, there's a kind of back to what you were saying about finding what makes you happy. There's a commencement speech by Charlie Day, who was the creator of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And so when I first found this speech on YouTube, it was one of those things where I was like, his voice just cracks me up because it's just so distinct. So I was like, I'm definitely going to watch this, and hopefully there will be a good tidbit in there about, success and trials and failure. And but I listened to it. It was about 20 minutes long, and honestly, that was another one of those things that I heard where you're kind of sitting on your couch watching it on YouTube, and I almost felt like kind of cheesy for being like so inspired by this speech from this guy who's just known for the kind of just yelling loud things, absurd things and getting huge laughs. And one of the points of his speech was, don't just do what makes you happy, do what makes you great. And I think, you said do what makes you happy, find what makes you happy. And I think that is the start of it a lot of times, because we want to be happy. I think some of us want to be happy so bad we lose sight of what happiness even is for us.
Right.
And I think that's a big issue. I know I struggle with it. I know a lot of other people that do as well. They say, I just want to do what makes me happy. And I said, well, what would that be? What makes you happy? And they're, well, I don't know. It's like you want to declutter, but then you also want to be busy enough that you're going to be successful, and you want all these different things that kind of contradict each other. But so and what he said after that was, so he says, don't just do what makes you happy, do what makes you great. He said, a lot of this has been hard work, and I'm not always happy. Yeah. And what he was referring to is, going through a bunch of different areas in his life where he failed, and he had just happened to start one of the longest lasting comedy shows on cable television or network television.
It's like 11 seasons.
Yeah, it's
I've
incredible.
never seen it. I have to check it out.
Well, so what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
I watch a lot of other political shows. I told you.
This ain't political.
Yeah, it's not political.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I focus on
anti-Seinfeld, I think, is what it's been called.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good show, though.
Great writing, great acting, and it was just started. I mean, he had opportunities to go do certain shows, with certain networks, and he turned it down and just got a couple video cameras and started filming the show in his apartment with his buddies. And it, like I said, became one of the longest lasting comedies. Still to this day, they're creating new episodes and seasons. But it was one of those things, and when you had said, do what makes you happy, like I totally agree with that. I think you should do what makes you happy. But I think when you take it a step further, you start to see these little tidbits of what you're good at, and but you have to find what interests you. Like you're saying, what was I looking up in the paper that I would go straight to? What's the first thing?
Yeah.
For me growing up, it was always sports. I think a lot of guys and girls as well, but definitely a lot of guys grow up that way, where they're just drawn to sports for whatever reason. So I would do that, and then I needed to find, man, sports does make me happy, but also I want to be successful. I don't need to be famous, but I want to be good at something. You know what I mean? And that's what will make me really happy, is being good at something and having something I can put my time and effort to. So I think it's that one extra step that I just wanted to throw out there, is find also, once you've found what makes you happy. So I know I want to do law. Now, how can I go out and be great at law?
Not me.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
Yeah. So
yeah. All right. One thing I'll back up to way in the beginning as well is we talked about failure and how that can be good.
Yeah.
You mentioned that fear of failure is something that motivates you.
It does.
Was that innate? Is that something you struggled with? Because I'll give you, for instance, while you think about it, is when I was playing football in high school, I had my coach kind of always bring me aside, and he said, "You look like you're scared to make a mistake," kind of thing, because you're thinking about doing it. It should be instinct. He didn't say the second part, but he basically said to let you think about it yourself. Like, what does that mean, Yoda? Like, I'm fucking 16. I don't understand what that means. Like,
I haven't read the Inner Game of Tennis yet.
That's not fear, though. What that is you're supposed to play the game to be more reactionary and instinctive than to think. So, for instance, you can't think about, as soon as you get the ball and it's a toss, sweep right, and you got the ball and you're running, you can't start thinking about, okay, I know the guard's supposed to be coming. Where's he? Oh my God, yeah. Where's my gap? No, you just got to see the play for it is, and you have to just take over yourself sometimes.
Right. He was saying that more or less in one way or the other, but I think it was outside football too.
Probably.
Because we had he was a family friend as well. So it kind of bled into that a little bit, and it kind of stuck in my craw. And it was one of those things, it's like, okay, it's okay to fuck up. Now I got to learn why you watch film when you do football. Why you, if you run a business, you should be doing a monthly and quarterly, like, all right, what have we done? How can we do it differently? Like, how can we get better?
Right.
The continuous improvement, Six Sigma, blah, blah,
I see
keeping a
what you're
lean
saying,
profile and all that stuff. We've started this company, and I've talked to my partner, and I was like, we definitely fucked up on this account. Yeah. And I'm not going to let it happen again.
Right.
But given the situation, we had to do it this way. Yeah. We won't do it that way ever again.
So are you almost saying, and I tell me if I'm wrong because I'm trying to interpret, are you almost saying, look, you said, Steve, that you're afraid of failure, but then you also raised the point where you can learn from your failures. Yeah. So where's the middle road, or where are you trying to get at? For me, it wasn't a failure about individual instances, because you do learn from those, and I've had those. I mean, fear of failure in life as a total. Right. That's what I'm more worried about. Not just, okay, sometimes you are going to fail a little bit and you learn from them. You absolutely do. But I was more worried about the big picture. Yeah. And yeah.
I've got a bit of that as well. Mm-hmm. I kind of like, when I'm feeling like a bum, I'm kind of like, well, fuck, what do I live to, like 80? Like, I get up and go do some shit. Don't sit around and watch reruns. Well, I've just kind of realized lately, like, why am I watching reruns of the same show I like, but I already know most of the beats on this episode. I'm wasting life doing that. I should be reading. I should be doing something else. What I was saying was, do you think that can drive a little bit too much stress, anxiety for you? Or do you a lot of people feed off that a little bit. Yeah. I think a lot of people that have a motor like you do kind of do feed off some kind of scenario like that. Like, I got to keep moving. I got to keep going forward. Yeah. That kind of area. Yeah. Do you think you can do that too much and pull it back, or do you think, no, that's what's going to drive me ultimately?
I think, at least I'll speak for myself first. I don't think it ever was something that got kind of too out of control where I couldn't handle, and it kind of, makes you get stressed out. I think every single person, and I think I already said this, it always comes down to is handles stress differently. So when you look at your life,
a lot of people jack off.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. But stockbrokers, they do it in the bathroom at work.
They probably do.
Yeah.
They do blow, or who knows what it is. But
both. It makes you horny.
There you go. So point is I think you start looking at, not that you maybe are a fear of too much of failure. If it's stressing people out a little bit too much, or they start putting too much stock in it, I think they start looking at their lives and saying, look, at this pace I'm going, can I live this way and be content? There's always some point where you're going to find a point of contentment. Me, I haven't found mine yet. I'm always striving. But I guess to answer your question is, everyone's disposition is so different that people are more laid back, where what they're doing is just enough for them. So they're okay with that, where they won't even dip their toe into the river where failure could be possible, because they don't need to even push themselves that far, and people are content with that. Other people need to dive right in that thing and see where it takes them, and that's what makes them content, is how they battle through that and what happens later. So that's why I'm saying, to answer your question, it's everyone's disposition, the way they're wired is so different that you can't just say for everybody that they're definitely gonna be afraid, and that adds stress to them, and then that's why that fear of failure causes them to almost get overreactive. It's people's level of contentment, because all of us as humans are so different. That's what kind of separates us apart, and that's how we choose to live, whether we want to keep striving or we're doing just enough to be happy where we're at.
So what I got out of that is, if you're feeling hot, don't put your tootsies in the river of failure.
I hope you got more from that. It doesn't even need to keep explaining it.
No.
Okay, good.
I mean,
I thought it was pretty good advice.
No, that's good advice. I got to pepper in some jokes.
Yeah, you do. I'm a little bit more bland, right?
Well, you're very focused. You have an Asperger's-y type kind of. I got something to say, and I've got 40 different things I want to put in there, and like. I think all three of us, we don't even look at each other when we're trying to make a point, because you're trying to focus on the point.
Yeah. I save my comedy for the football podcast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a little more serious, a little different.
Well, look, man, it's been close to an hour, and I think we're trying to keep it at that mark, because people's attention spans aren't that long. Yeah. Maybe we'll open it up to maybe a more Rogan or Pete Holmes 3-hour banger, but it ends when it ends kind of theory.
Like a Grateful Dead song.
Yeah.
There you go.
But for now, you'll definitely come back on, because you
I'll
have
come
a lot of
anytime
shit
you
to
want
talk
me.
about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Anything left? Anything you wanted to say that maybe you didn't?
Yeah. I like the Buckle Bruce shirt you got on.
Thanks.
I'm definitely going for the Cowboys.
It's good
though.
pod.
That's my
It's
team.
good visual.
It is. You
It's
like
good
that?
for the
Those
audio.
of you who
listen-
can't see, he's got the red and orange pride with the Buckle Bruce Tampa Bay Buck shirt on.
Especially when this comes out 3 weeks later when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, who are they playing? The
Yeah.
Cowboys?
So this is what, November 15th maybe today? I don't even know.
Yeah,
15th.
it is.
Yeah.
Payday for some people.
That's right. So Cowboys will probably win. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I want to end this so I can watch the Bucks lose.
Yeah.
That's how I focus.
Not that we want the Bucks to be bad, but all I'm trying to say is you can count on them to mess it up somehow.
No, they find new ways to lose.
Yeah,
except
new
they
ways.
don't learn from that. That's the problem.
They
with
just added to
management.
their arsenal of how to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we can mess up this way now. We learned that in week 3. Bring that back and find a way to screw
if
this.
someone's good at Photoshop, how to lose a game in 10 ways. If they could do a parody meme of that, I'd really enjoy
Yeah.
that.
So I was just trying to say I feel underdressed how you have that great shirt on and he's got his high school baseball sweater on. So
Well, this is a
I gotta step
baby
my
team.
game up.
Fair. Caleb, you got anything?
No, I think that was great, and it was this was my first time meeting Steve, and I thought this was great advice. This was an awesome conversation. So hopefully you listeners enjoyed it as well, and if you did, make sure you share it, tell a friend about it. Like us on Facebook, share us on Facebook, and check us out.
Well, if you made it this far, like I say, it's Shawshank Redemption. If you made it this far, why don't you come a little bit further? Why don't you give us a 5-star review? Here's the algorithm from what I've heard: subscribe rates, downloads, and then reviews. Those are the 3 ways you kind of move up the chart. So if you can help us out, give us a 5-star, give us a 1-star. I don't give a shit. If you don't like it, that's fine. We're going to advertise this podcast out there. But what I was going to say is give us a review, however many stars, write a review, subscribe, and then download. And then that'll help us get up the rankings.
Yeah.
You do that, it takes you 2 minutes. You do that, it helps us geek up the way. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to go to tocoworks.com and hit the contact, and we'll see those coming in if you have any sweat equity questions. All right, until next time, I don't know. We don't have a sign off. Until next time.
Ric Flair it.
Woo! Woo!